Hi, greetings from BSC Designer team. In this short video, I'm going to share with you some information about key updates that we have recently made in BSC Designer Online and BSC Designer Pro. And actually, we have made some interesting improvements. So let's start with BSC Designer Online. First of all, we have continued to move some features from not to move, but to implement some features from BSC Designer Pro into the web-based version and BSC Designer Online. And one of these features is a geographical map. In BSC Designer Pro, you had a possibility to create a map, a geographical map, and link some KPIs to geographical areas on this map. And now it's available in BSC Designer Online as well. To access this feature, you need to go here to the Strategy Map tab and click this button, Strategy Placement Wizard button, and choose this option, Map with the KPIs. And this map will going to read some default template that we have, and then you will be able to choose from some pre-default maps and create a new map with this geographical map. And to link some KPI to the map, you need to go to KPIs tab. It's a little bit different from Pro version. Here we don't have context menu, but instead you have tools menu where you have option link item to the map. And by using this option, you will be able to choose a geographical area. Right now we're working with map of Europe, and you will see your indicator on the map. This one option that we have added in BSC Designer Online. Another feature that was added is a possibility to have a little bit more flexibility when you're sharing your indicators with your team. Before, it was possible to give a certain person a permission to change to work with some indicator, to change its value and other fields. And now, when you are given this permission, you will find this option below this dialog. In the end of this dialog, this option will suggest for you to choose between a full access and access to the value field only. For example, when you have a project and you want to give your user a possibility to edit the value field only, not the baseline, not the target, then you can select this option and your user will be able to enter information only into the value field, not in the baseline or in the target. So imagine that you set some goals, define some baseline, define some target, and then some of your employees can be responsible only for entering all the new actual data into the value field. Now, we have implemented some new features related to data safety and security. One of these features is a possibility to start logs. When you go to users section, you will find here a button called logs, and by clicking this button, you will be able to activate logging of all operations related to your account. You need to go to settings, and you will find some settings for logging. For example, you will be able to specify for how long you want to keep your logs, and what is more interesting, you will be able to specify what events you want to log. For example, you can log events related to attempts to log into the account with some wrong passwords, which might help to prevent some possible hacker attacks, so on and so forth. This is one feature. Another feature is a possibility to do a backup of all your data that you have in your account. So in your account, you have your projects, And before you was able to download your projects one by one, but if you have many projects, it's a challenging task, and you wasn't able to to download your structure or your users. Now you can do this. Now you can go to the settings, and here in MISC settings you'll find two new options, which is backup projects and groups, and respectively restore projects and group. So you can add it to your calendar, and from time to time you might want to do a backup of your data. And this is especially useful when you, for example, want to cancel your subscription for some time. Things happens for sure, and sometimes you want to cancel your subscription, and you will not lose all your data. You can do a backup of your projects, backup of your settings, backup of your users, and then when you want to continue using the system, you can just simply go here and use restore projects and groups. So in this way you have even more control over your projects, over your settings, over your files. Now that's what we have introduced in BSC Designer Online, but we have also introduced some really new features in BSC Designer Pro. By the way, all this time when we're silent for about 1 month and 1 or 2 months, we were working really hard on these new features and decided to show all them into one big release. So what's interesting in BSC Designer Pro? First of all, as you know, all business goals and all KPIs might have budget initiatives aligned with them. Yeah, you have your initiatives and you have budget initiatives. The thing was that before you was able to manage only with one currency, which was your default currency in your system, and now we decided to make your life a little bit easier. So if you will go to Tools, Application Options, you will find a new tab called Currencies, and here you can add your local currency. For example, let's add Czech krona. And what the software will do, the software will take all these are conversion rate, exchange rate for these currencies. In this case, we're using we have 3 currencies, and the software shows for us a conversion rate between these 3 currencies. So it's a typical situation for any business when you're operating in an international environment. You might have some currency in your country, but you might be working with some partners and paying or billing them in US dollars, or you might have some clients, some partners, some resources in Europe, and you will have a euro currency and even more currencies. So you are able now to add these currencies in BSC Designer. Here's a list of the currencies that is available, and you can actually edit this list if you need, but for now we have all the world currencies here, and you can enter these currencies in the software. Another feature that sometimes we don't need to take exchange rate from the internet. The software can take exchange rate from the internet automatically, but sometimes some companies fix certain exchange rate in the beginning of the year and go ahead during the year with that exchange rate. And this situation is also possible, and in this case you just enter this exchange rate manually. So when you have these currencies, it actually gives you a possibility to create your budget initiatives and to use these currencies for your budget initiatives. So I can create a budget initiatives, let's say for some business goal, I have a planned budget for 10,000 Czech crowns, and for another business goal, I have a budget initiative for several thousand euros, and so on and so forth. And when you will be generating the initiatives report, budget and duration report, the report will take into account all your currencies and will bring you a summary. And actually this column here, the default column defines which currency you want to use for the summary calculation. So if you define here US dollars, you will find that all your other currencies are converted using these exchange rates into US dollars, and you see a summary in US dollars. So this is one feature that was really asked by some of our users. So here you have it. Another feature is related to strategy map, which is more interesting for those people who want to showcase a strategy map for their team to run a discussion around strategy. And right now you can see that we have a lot of controls here. We have toolbars here, we have sidebar here, we have this status bar, and sometimes we need to have a clear picture without all these details. So I'm just pressing F11 key on my keyboard, and I have just strategy map. So when I want to go back, I just press escape key or F11 key again, and I escape from the full screen mode. So I can find it here in the strategy map menu as well. So this feature is useful for those who want to make a presentation, who want to showcase a strategy map to their team. Another feature that was really asked by some users, and we have implemented it. This feature is related to the copying of styles of the objects on this map. So, for example, all objects might be customized. Like here, I'm changing this color to some color. Gradient color might be also this. And when I need to copy this style, before I had to do it manually, now you can copy it using this copy formatting option in strategy map menu. So I do this and I click, and the style was applied. It's really time consuming to do it one by one for all elements. So instead of this, you can use a hotkey, which is Ctrl plus Shift plus C for copying, and Ctrl plus Shift plus V for pasting. So it's a standard hotkey for a standard shortcut for copying of style. So if you use it in the Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel, it's the same as you have it here in BSC Designer. Now, another improvement, which is actually an actualization, those who used before these two buttons here have recently reported that Google updated their API, and because of this, the software was not able to work properly with the Google Calendar. Now this is fixed, and now the software again works properly with the Google Calendar. So now when you want to quickly export some of your initiatives related to a KPI or to a business goal into your Google Calendar or Google Task, you just press this button, you have all your data here, and you choose a related time information and just click Add Event. And we have improved this a little bit so that some reasonable information is displayed here and you don't need to enter this timing manually. So this is working now, and it was even improved. Now, another feature that was discussed, was suggested by some of our users, is some confusion that the software was made in for those users who were importing data from, let's say, Microsoft Excel. The reason of this confusion was that all indicators in BSC Designer might have an update interval. For example, this indicator has an update interval, which is a monthly on the first day of the month. And the confusion was that the software thinks that you need to, that all the data need to be entered for the first day of the month. But the reality is that sometimes those people who import some data might do it not on the first day of the month, but on the second and the third and so forth. Or the data that is imported might contain the data not for the first day of the month, but for the 10th day of the month or something like that. This was a confusion, and that was making some problems for people who use this feature actively. Now, when you do import this now, you follow all the steps, and on the final step, you will be asked if you want to, let's say, if you want to use update interval, if you want to import data only for dates that are defined by update interval. So I'm just clicking next to show you this checkbox. Yeah. So try this feature and you'll find that your data is imported in a little bit more organized manner. Now, the last but not the least, as they say, this improvement was required by many people, and we finally released it. And this improvement is related to grouping by feature, the feature that is related to aggregation of the data. And now you'll find that many controls related to the feature were removed from the software, and this is actually because of the way you work now with grouping with aggregated data is a little bit easier. So let me show you. For example, this indicator has some data for first 5 months of the year, and what you can do, you can group this data by, let's say, by quarters. And what you can see now, that here on the calendar you can switch between these calendars, switch between these quarters, and you see we have here 20. Yeah, this 20 is not this one. Let's put here 21. Yeah, this 20 is an average, because for this KPI we have here grouping type average. This is average value of these values for these first 3 months. And the thing is that this value is showed not in as an editable value. Right now you see it as a text. And it means that the software shows you aggregated data. It shows you the summary for the first quarter for this indicator. And you can also visualize a summary for this indicator for the second quarter. And when you want to edit this, if I want to edit this, I will try to edit this right now. I'm clicking on this, and the software changes the calendar back to the unaggregated state. So back to the months in this case, because this indicator is updated on monthly basis. And the software gets me back to the unaggregated state. So now you have a possibility to view aggregated and not aggregated data in the same place. Less controls, less confusions. So let me show it for a year, where you can also visualize it. And again, by clicking on this, the software will get you to the unaggregated state when you can edit your data, change some values, and go back to the aggregated state again if you want it. And this is applied to all the calendars you have in the software. For example, for strategy map, you can use the data for aggregated periods, and you can switch to months periods, and you see that the data here is changing as well. And the same applies to the dashboard. When you see it, you can switch it, and all indicators have their own aggregation type, and the software visualizes data for you here. So these are all the features that we have introduced in the software, and some improvements were made on website as well. You might have noticed them, but I wanted to comment a little bit on them. If you go to the store section, you will find that you have less options here. Actually, your choices were not limited. It's just a visual representation of the same data. So as before, you had the possibility to choose between subscription license, and this short comment here tells you that maintenance and updates are included in the subscription license. And you can choose between permanent license. You see here that maintenance and updates included during the first year. And you can also choose if you need some BSC Designer online users. So before you had here possibility to choose BSC Designer server, you still have a possibility to buy it, but because of its really technical thing, we remove it from this this price calculator. So if you need this, if you really need this, if you have your own server, you have your own team that is running your own server, and you want to host BSC Designer online on your own server, just let us know and we'll give you some respective information on this. And again, those users who are using a subscription license for BSC Designer Pro can download the updated version right now, and that's it. And those who have permanent license and it was purchased less than 1 year before or was updated less than 1 year before can download the latest version. And those who have purchases more than 1 year ago have two options. One option is to, actually three options. One option is to continue using the version that you have right now. No problems with this, but will not be able to help you with any technical issues that you might be facing, and you will not be able to enjoy all the latest features that we have in the software. And another option is to buy an update for a permanent license. You will have an email notification about this. If you want to receive it, just write us a short message and we'll resend it. And another option is to switch from permanent license to the subscription license. And for sure, in this case, you will have some discounted price. And if you have purchased the software less than 1 year ago, you can get this update for free. So these were all the details we wanted to share with you. If you have any questions, as always, you can go to customer support section and send us a short message or long message about your problems or feature suggestion, and hopefully you will find it in the new version. And thank you very much for your attention, and goodbye.